It seems like I've joined.
We can hear you, Doctor. Good morning.
Morning, and to you too.
Welcome. It's Anik from Vito. You look and sound good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I'll just wait for you when you're ready, and then I'll start the live streaming. And if you can just wait for them to say live streaming started, then you can start talking. So whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Live streaming is on. Live streaming is on.
Good morning, colleagues, and good morning to all our guests, the panelists, as well as our co-host, Ekurhuleni West Tvet College. You are welcome to the seminar. Without a waste of time, because I've already wasted 5 minutes trying to connect, let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Anthony Tshwarelo Malapane. I'm a researcher here at the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, and also a scholar of public management and governance, specializing in oversight and public policy. So I hope that we are going to work well together. My duty today, or my work today, is mainly to facilitate this session. However, we have important guests, which are our panelists, who will be leading this discourse that we are going to have today. So hoping and wishing for a fruitful discourse. So before we can start our program, it is important that we invite God to be with us. Of course, we have different ways of connecting with God. So it will be important that at least we observe prayer and meditation for about, let's say, between 30 seconds and a minute. All of us, please, let's just close our eyes, observe meditation and prayer for at least 30 seconds to a minute. I thank you. Let's observe prayer and meditation. Yes, according to my clock, the 30 seconds, it's done. I thank you all for observing prayer and meditation. So our second item in the program is the purpose and objectives of the seminar. I'll be the one introducing the purpose and objective of the seminar. The seminar is titled The Importance of Students Participation in Local Government Elections. As we know, issues of participation in local government elections are very important. So what we have observed over time is that elections after elections, questions arises on the overall participation of different groups of people in elections, more especially young people. The questions goes to the extent of sometimes even questioning the level of our democracy. More importantly, the democracy that we love and relish. As we know, all of us, I think we are aware of what democracy is. Democracy is about the people, wherein mostly the definition that we're familiar with, we say democracy is for the people, by the people, 1, 2, 3, continuing with that. However, looking at the textbook definition of democracy, it indicates that democracy has two forms, which is representative and participatory democracy. Looking at the two forms of democracy, we have tried to explain them using institutions, more importantly, institutions that have a simple obligation to entrench democracy, institutions such as the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, which is the host, the co-host of this session that we are having today. So the legislature is an elected body which is elected by ourselves as the people so that it can represent our interest. So we elect members of provincial legislatures to go and represent our interests in the legislature. The legislature has different mandates. Amongst those mandates is Oversight Mandate. The Oversight Mandate entails that the legislature has the responsibilities, more importantly, the legislators or the members of provincial legislature, they have the responsibility to hold the executive accountable, as well as any other organs of state, which include agencies and entities. So the other one include cooperative governance, which entails the working together of different spheres of government between, for example, the provincial government and the local government, which entails municipalities. Then the other include public participation. So public participation is the one that is more relevant to today's contention or to today's debate that we are having. So while we are perusing the literature on public participation, voter participations, and elections, it indicates that citizen participation talks directly to citizen power. This entails that citizens have the power to decide or make or elect their representatives. More importantly, when we are referring directly to the local government elections that are coming, to elect our own representatives locally in the form of councillors, so that they can represent our interest, our day-to-day needs. And then, however, when we look back at the previous or past elections, there is a question that keep on lingering. That question entails the issue of voter turnout. Voter turnout remains a subject of contention. The question that mostly dominates the issue of voter turnout is what they call voter apathy. The voter apathy it's among young people. It seems like young people are not interested or are just not, interested even to go and register to vote. So literature on elections and citizen participation entails that young people do participate in other processes, democratic processes. Young people do involve themselves in strikes. We know each and every day in institutions of higher learning like yourself at the Ekurhuleni West College. You guys, when you want to raise your concerns, you strike. Those are democratic processes. Those are political processes. You do participate in other political processes like that one, and also joining political parties. In your institution of higher learning like yourselves, you do have political formations that you join, such as SASCO, EFF, such as PASMAS, and then and DASO, and many others that you join to participate in political activities. However, the literature concludes that there is a gap, because when it comes to voting, it seems like young people are not interested in voting. So why not voting? More importantly, considering that statistics, when we look at statistics, the numbers point out to 21% of eligible voters who are not registered. And those numbers are made of young people. So that should be a serious concern. However, one indicated during the week while we were attending other seminars that, you know, perhaps we should take comfort at least on the announcement by the IEC that at least 400,000 new registration people, people registered, which are young people, to vote in the upcoming local government election. But registration on its own is not an end on itself, so it's not enough. So we still have to encourage these young people to go out during the days, during the day of the election to cast their vote, or even days before through special votes. So those are the questions and concerns that we need to deal with when we do our. Yes, you're audible, and you're visible as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Program Director, Dr. Malapan, Gauteng legislature officials present here, and the IEC officials present, the EWC staff and students in attendance here in this seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to begin by appreciating or by expressing the appreciation that we have as the college to the Gauteng legislature for hosting and co-hosting this critical thinking virtual seminar with us as Ekurhuleni West Tvet College. We are yet again en route to local elections that will be taking place on the 1st of November, 2021, which I see it important to encourage you students, the leaders of tomorrow, to participate in these elections. Hopefully, as we are growing old, we will rely on you to carry on with these democratic processes that we are enjoying as a country. And I further believe that the 2021 local election is shaping up to be one of the most crucial elections in the recent history to break political impasses and to fuel service delivery. We have in the past witnessed the downward trend of youth not participating in the elections. And it was always, or it has always been a struggle to increase voter turnout. But that does not mean it is not a battle worth fighting. We can still fight it and win it and encourage our youth to go and vote. That being said, I advise you students from whichever political formation to be the champion of democracy by encouraging your network to vote this election season. We have raised that those who wouldn't like to vote say the main reason they don't want to vote is because they feel disengaged. They either don't think their vote matters or are simply not interested or don't care at all. When people feel disengaged, let that become your fuel to go out there to entice your friends, your family, and your community to vote. Remember to tell them that the outcome of the election is determined by the people who show up to the polls. With these few words, I would like to welcome you all to this critical thinking virtual seminar. Your vote, your voice is what we are expecting in these coming elections. Thank you very much.
We thank you very much for the warm welcome. I think you have welcomed us all. We feel so much welcome. I think even our panelists can attest to that, that indeed we are welcome in this session and ready to participate. More importantly, on the issues that you just gave us, just indicated to us, which discourages young people from participating. Hope we'll be able to, disentangle those issues, deal with them head on, and come with way forwards and solutions for the betterment of tomorrow. With that, let's allow Ms. Luopelo Kwala from the IEC, from the Commission for Elections, to take us through election voting procedures, and just give us a background of how as well are they dealing with issues of voter apathy among the young people. Over to you, Ms. Leopelo.
Good morning, colleagues. I greet you all this morning. I hope I am audible, Chairperson.
Audible but not visible. You are in the dark there. It seems like you're in load shedding. Yes, you are visible now.
Okay. Thank you very much and good morning to all. My name is Diopelo Kwala. I am from the Electoral Commission in Ekurhuleni. My job here today is to talk to the participants about the voting process. It is common knowledge that before everyone can vote, they need to register. We draw our reference from the South African Constitution. As we all know that IEC is established by the South African Constitution in Chapter 9, where it talks about the establishment of Chapter 9 institutions, IEC being one of them, to promote and protect constitutional democracy. So the Constitution in Section 1D also talks about the national common voters role, where we have to register voters to be able to participate. And it also talks about regular elections. Dr. Malapane has mentioned that we have different elections that we administer every 5 years. So this is our next 5 years from 2016, it's now 2021 to administer local government elections for 2021. Section 19 as well of the Constitution talks to us about the political right, which gives us the right to vote. In South Africa, voting is a right, is not compulsory. It is for this reason that we always encourage people to vote and exercise their constitutional right. So what happens with voting? The date for elections has been proclaimed and elections are taking place on the 1st of November. But prior to the election day, we have what we call special votes. Unfortunately, we talked today in this seminar, the applications for special votes closed on the 4th, which was on Monday. So whoever has applied to participate with special vote will be allowed to vote on the 30th and 31st of October 2021. Let me talk about the process. Perhaps young people are hesitant to go to the polling station because they think queuing there is a waste of their time. Just to alert you, to alleviate your fears that voting, it's very quick. Our intention is for the voters not to spend more than 15 minutes at the station. So this is what is happening when you get to the station. You must bring your ID, your original identity document, in a form of a green barcoded ID, a smart card, or a temporary voting certificate, which is acquired at the Home Affairs in case you have lost or misplaced your ID. I must just mention that Home Affairs offices will also be open for voters to get their TICs. So when you get to the station, you worker who will be having the zip, which is the scanning machine, and that person will scan your ID. After your ID has been scanned, if you are registered at that particular station, you will get a sequence number. A sequence number is the number that is aligned to your name on the voter's roll. And then you proceed inside to the queue walker. The queue walk, the door controller rather, which is the second person at the door, will sanitize you and direct you to the voters roll officer. When you get to the voters roll officer, the voters roll officer will ask for that sequence number, check your name on the voters roll, and cross you out. Then scan your ID on the new device that we use for voting, which is the VMD, the voter management device. They will scan your ID. Immediately when your ID is scanned, the machine will tell if you qualify for all 3 ballots in case of a district or 2 ballots in case of a metro. After doing that, you will then proceed to the inker, who will ink your left thumbnail to ensure that is one of our security measures. And then you will proceed to the ballot paper issuer. You need to ensure that the ballot paper issuer has stamped your ballot, because if your ballots are not stamped, they will deemed to be spoiled ballots. So it is important that as a voter, you also ensure that your ballot papers are stamped, and you'll proceed to the voting booth, where you will make a mark to the political party or for the political party or the independent candidate of your choice. After doing that, you drop off your ballot paper in the ballot box and you leave the station. So that process is less than 15 minutes. I must mention that for the local government elections that we are about to administer in a metro, voters will receive 2 ballot papers, the metro, the PR ballot or the proportional representation ballot, as well as the ward ballot. With the systems that we are using, for the ward ballot, we are using the winner takes all or the constituency-based system, where we are voting for the individual that will be called the ward councillor. And for the PR ballot, we only voting for the political parties. I must indicate that in Ekurhuleni, there's about 39 political parties that are participating and 37 independent candidates that are contesting these elections. So with these elections, we'll truly see democracy at work. Chairperson, I think I have covered the voting process, unless there's something else that you want me to touch base on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you've covered it precisely. So you have even gave us the starter with regard to our discussion on how we're going to discuss going forward, more especially giving a background with regard to the systems, how voting goes about with regard to voting for a PR as well as a councillor. Then I think it will also assist us going forward with the panelists. So, but you must be on standby, because some of the questions and the issues that might be raised might also need your clarity going forward. So we'll rely on you. We'll rely on you. So without a waste of time, I think we'll introduce our panelists so that we continue with the discussions. Our panelists will start with Caleb. Is it Caleb Sweni? I'm not a linguist, so some of these say names, I might get them wrong. So while you are introducing yourself, you might as well just correct that, because I might butcher your say name and it becomes a problem. And then it's Caleb Sweni. Please just briefly introduce yourself.
Good day, everyone. Good day. I hope I'm audible and visible. Mr. Chair, if you can just indicate that for me.
You are audible but not visible.
Okay, let me just see. Okay, I don't know what's going on. I hope now.
Yes, you're okay now.
So greetings to all. My name is Caleb Sweni. I reside in the city of Johannesburg in an area called Ekurhuleni. I am doing a qualification in office administration at Ekurhuleni West Tvet College, Alberton campus. And yes, what I do in my spare time, or what I'm very passionate about, is assisting and helping students. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We're looking forward to hear from you. Let's take Francis Knox Harry. Francis, just briefly introduce yourself. Francis, unmute and on the video. It seems like Francis is not connected, or he's battling with connection. Let's take Tato Mkudu.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Let me just try and open the video so that I can be visible. I'm not sure if I'm visible now.
Yes, you are visible now.
All right, thank you, Chair. Allow me to greet everyone from the Gauteng Legislature, Ekurhuleni West Tvet College staff, inclusive of students, panelists. Accept my revolutionary greetings. My name is Tato Skamkudu. I am a HR student at Jamestown campus, EWC. And then what I do during my spare time, I'm a writer of books and a motivational speaker. And I'm very passionate about assisting students and serving them. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We are looking forward from hearing from you. Let's take Nolikwa Smatla.
Let me just open a video.
You are welcome to do that. It's similar to TikTok one, so you don't have to battle.
Yes, am I visible?
Not yet. You are not visible. Yeah, you are visible now. You may continue.
Oh, okay. First and foremost, let me greet everyone. The program director, Dr. Anthony, the acting principal of EWC, Mr. Mudau, and the representative from IEC, our fellow panelist members, and also the students who are streaming live and the staff of EWC. My name is Nodika Smatla. I'm a graduate from EWC, just finished my HR qualification, currently embarking and pursuing a Bachelor of Business Administration in Management. I'm a young woman who's very passionate about politics. I'm an activist, student activist, and also a community leader, because I believe in change. And there's a quote that says that if you want to see the change, you must participate in ensuring that change happens. Thank you very much, everyone, and greetings, everyone.
Thank you very much. We are looking forward to hear from your passion. As you indicated, that you are very passionate about issues of governance and politics. So we're looking forward to that. Let's take Tato Ntokozo. And the same name, you'll introduce it before I butcher it.
Am I visible?
Yes, you are visible and audible.
Okay, thank you. Greetings to the house at large. I'm Tato Ntokozo Klimba, originally from Newcastle, Ploposhi, KZN, but currently located in Vosloorus. I'm studying marketing at EWC, Boksburg campus. I'm a big fan of soccer, also a petrol head. I spend most of my time thinking of how to make more money to develop my country. So, okay, that's me, and thank you.
Thank you. We are looking forward to hearing from you. Let's not leave you behind, Francis Harry. You may try to connect again and introduce yourself. Francis, try to connect again. Now we can see you. I think you're audible as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Program Director. Good morning to everyone. Greetings to the Program Director, the Principal of EWC, the IEC officials, and the viewers watching from across the country. My name is Francis Noxhari. A young man from a small town in Limpopo. That's where I originally am from, and currently residing in the city of Johannesburg in Newtown, 28 years of age, currently studying business studies at Ekurhuleni Tvet College at Boksburg campus. I am studying I'm doing my second year actually, towards office administration. I believe I am a people's person. My interests are helping people. I am a believer, and that's one thing that I foremost find myself engaging in. I serve as an SRC member at Boksburg campus, and I like and mostly love assisting students in student transformation and whatever difficulties that they might come across regarding different things, be it NSFAS, be it Pride Space, and so forth. And thank you very much for having me.
Francis, you don't have to go. You don't have to go. It means you are supposed to be the one who starts here. Because I can hear you say you are passionate about assisting students with regard to issues that they are battling with on a day-to-day basis. So let's respond to the big question of today. Why do you think it is important for students to participate in local government election? So you may start your presentation. I'll give you, let's say, between 7 and 10 minutes. Over to you.
Program Director. As I have mentioned, my name is Francis Noxhari. I believe that local government is one of the three spheres of government together with the provincial and national spheres. Local government consists of municipalities which deliver many of the services people use in their daily lives. The Constitution provides for three categories of municipalities, namely metropolitan, district, and local municipalities. In South Africa, there are 278 municipalities comprising of 8 metropolitan, 44 districts, and 226 local municipalities. The Constitution spells out the function of each sphere of government in Schedules 4 and 5. Local government functions are listed in Parts B of each schedule. All three spheres must coordinate their efforts. National and provincial government share the responsibility for functions listed in Schedule 4. For example, for the police force and disaster management, provincial government has the sole responsibility for functions listed in Schedule 5, for example, ambulance services and provincial roads. The defense force and university education, for example, are the exclusive responsibility of the national government. Now, I said for myself, and I asked myself that, what is it that as an individual can I expect from my municipality? Now, the following came to mind, that the Section 152 of the Constitution sets out 5 focus areas of municipalities. The first one, to provide democratic and accountable government, provide services in a sustainable manner, promote social and economic development, promote a safe and healthy environment, encourage the involvement of communities. Now, according to the Municipal Systems Act, a basic service is one that ensures an acceptable and reasonable quality of life with regards to water, sewage, refuse removals, roads and stormwater control, electricity, housing, and firefighting. Now, I believe that if I was able to come across that this is what I should expect from my municipality as an individual. Now, before also I become an individual, before I become anything else as well, I believe I am a student, and that qualifies my involvement in the local elections. This has constituted my thinking into believing that as an individual, as a student, and as a citizen of this country, as well as a member of my community, I should, as a student, be qualified the involvement of my the local government elections. So I am going with the motion that I agree that students should be involved in the local elections, because we are taught and we are told many a times as the young people of this country that the future of this country lies in our hands, and we are the future of this country. Now, that's where I battle to understand that if we are to say that students should not be involved in the local government elections, then which youth are we relating to, or are we referring to when we say that they are the future of this country? Because I believe that in order for us to shape for the future, we need to start now. And when we start now, we start by shaping the youth that we have now, which is mostly the students whom we find in our Tvet colleges, in our universities, and in our communities, respectively. I thank you.
Live streaming is on.
Okay, no, thank you very much. It seems like we're having a problem with our streaming, but it's back on. Francis, are you still here?
Yes, sir, I am still here.
Yes. The questions that I was raising is that you have raised important issues, more especially giving us a context on what the importance of what is local government, and you outline also its functions and objectives. Which one of those objectives is encouraging participation of different groups of society. And then I say the question that you need to answer, which is going to be the second question, is how best do you think we can encourage young people to participate in local government issues, in particular elections? And then before you answer that one, I said you must start by indicating to us, why do you think are the reasons young people are not interested in voting? So you may try to answer these questions. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Thank you very much, Program Director, for those questions. I believe the first question that you asked is that why do I think that young people are not participating in in the local government elections.
Correct.
And the second question that you brought forth to me is that how best can we encourage the youth to partake in local government elections?
Correct.
Thank you very much. I believe that the young people are not fully, I would not say they are not partaking, because if I am saying that they are not partaking, then I would be a sellout, because as a young person, I am seated here and I believe that I am partaking. So I would say that I believe that the young people are not fully partaking in the local government elections, which I think I can relate it with any other activities that would take place in our communities, in our churches, in our colleges, in our universities, and everywhere else, because of the stigma that I would say that as young people have been led to believe that we are way too young to be doing anything or to have a say, because it has been a norm, and which I believe as an individual that it's one thing that needs to be corrected across, that as young people we need to be acknowledged by those who come before us. We need to be acknowledged by our elders, by those also in power, and our leaders as well, to believe and allow us as young people to have a say, and to allow us to stretch and exercise our capabilities. I believe that young people are not fully taking part in some of these activities that are going to shape our future, because we are not being given enough time, or we are not being given allowance enough to stretch our capabilities. We are always perceived as the young, naive ones who always want to picket, who always wants to strike. So I believe that's one thing that makes young people mostly not to fully partake in activities that involve our future in our communities respectively. Now, how best can we encourage the youth to take part in activities, or at large in activities, I would say, but specifically given the topic that we are speaking about today, the local government elections? I believe that it's not going to be, it would not be a hard thing to encourage the youth to partake in local government elections. I believe the starting point is to give them allowance to stretch their capabilities. You know, when they say you give a person a rope, whether to hang themselves or to make something out of it, I believe that can be practiced. And trust me, young people will prove to have much more capability, and young people will prove to even move things much more faster than ordinarily, that in a speed that they would move. I believe that if young people are only given an ear, or are given a platform to exercise their capabilities, that is the best way we can do to encourage their participation in the local government elections. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think you have covered the questions well. I'll also encourage our audience to send questions, so that after our panelists have introduced the topic, we can able to ask them questions. You can send the question through the chat, and some will be allowed to can raise questions directly. So let me allow Nolikwa Smatla to contribute to the big question. The last speaker indicated that he's a strong believer of young people participating in local government elections, particularly noting the functions and objectives of local government, which he did outline to us. So Noliko Sumatra, on the big question, why do you think it is important?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I think it's very important for, I don't know, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible and visible.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I think it's very important for young students to participate in the coming local elections, because it's whereby we as young people can actually exercise our right to vote and have a voice on who must actually be our leaders in terms of municipalities and in terms of wards. You know, the nicest things about the local government elections is that the candidates that we choose are people that we are around within our communities, and these people know our daily struggles. So as young people, we need to participate to ensure that the people that we choose are going to push mandate of our mandate and advocate for issues that affect us on a daily basis or as communities. Number one, as Ekurhuleni Tvet College, we have a struggle of accommodation. We don't have accommodation that is actually accredited and by NSFAS. And if we had a municipality which say that we have identified a land and this land should be used to build student accommodation, whereby the accommodation is going to be accredited to NSFAS. We don't experience issues of students being evicted because NSFAS failed to pay allowance. And at the number two, one of the issues that we face is in terms of health. The municipality should at least be able to provide mobile clinics. In universities, you go to University of Johannesburg, there are medical facilities within campus, but when you go to Tvet, there's no such. So I believe that the municipality should station mobile clinics in each and every campus. I can't take a school off because I have a headache, whereby if there's assistance of medical around the campus, I can just go there and get Panado. And then the last issue that actually affects us is issue of unemployment. Look at Ekurhuleni. We have many industrial areas. We have Isando, we have Waiteville, we have Alroad. The list is endless. But at the center of it, we are experiencing high unemployment because young people are not prioritized in being given a job. Imagine I'm a graduate, I'm applying for a job, and I've been told that in order for you to qualify for this job, you need to have 5 experience. 5 years experience? Where do I get an experience while I'm fresh from the institution? So the companies need to ensure that they prioritize in providing in-service training to the students so that they are able to equip them themselves. And then in terms of why students do not vote, it's very worrying. As we can see, registration week, it was very low compared to 2016. We had 41,000 new registrations in Ekurhuleni, whereas now in 2021 we have 14,000 new registration. The students are no longer interested to vote. Young people especially, they are no longer interested to vote because of one, the status quo that they found themselves living in. Our young people are languishing in poverty. They are living in dire living conditions that frustrate them on daily basis. Young people end up living, going to life of crime. They end up using drugs in order to escape their reality that they are unemployment. They can't make means of living. So going forward, I think to encourage youth to vote, we actually ran a program of encouraging youth to vote, and we even took students to IEC. But here's the problem: when you get to IEC, you find that their machines are offline, because even during registration week, we had a problem of whereby in City Wall 135, from 7 o'clock until 2 o'clock, the IEC system was offline. They had to resort to manual registration. So the IEC on itself need to correct this, because it's very discouraging to wake up, you go to the voting station and you find out that the system is offline. And as young people, we are not patient enough. We have our lifestyle. So imagine I'm going to say I'm going to register to vote, and then you find the machines is offline. And I already comment IEC on introducing the online registration, although the system had technicalities in terms of there are people who registered online, and when we check the final voters roll, it reflects that there are no addresses in the voters roll, which means I'm not going to be able to vote for my ward councillor, even though I can vote for PR councillor, but I'm not going to vote for the actual ward councillor. So I'll just stop there in terms of my submission to the topic. Thank you.
No, thank you very much for the submission. I think you have raised very important points, wherein you indicated that socio-economic challenges contribute mostly with regard to young people not interested in voting. You mentioned issues of unemployment, issues of not receiving services and related to that. Then how are young people going to change that status quo if they are not voting? Perhaps it's just something to assist you to add as well. And then do you think young people lack faith to the current representation that they are having within government? And how do we go about to convince them going forward in practical terms? Because what you did, you said you guys have programs that try by all means to encourage students on how to go about to register and then vote and all that. So in practical terms, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis to ensure that you encourage them to vote?
Okay, and one of the key things that that will actually encourage young people to vote is seeing a person that they could relate to. You can't say that you are putting a 62-year-old, no offense, as a candidate, and you expect that person to understand the struggle of young people. So it's high time that when political parties elect candidates, they ensure that they include young people, because young people will be able to voice out issues that affect them, and young people will form part of actually making laws that we know that are going to be applicable to us as young people. So in future, I think even independent candidates, young people must be on the forefront, because we are the future after all, and then we must be given opportunity in terms of occupying these leadership roles, and and also in terms of improving on unemployment, the municipalities should at least say that 40% of or job opportunities within municipalities must prioritize young people. But how do municipalities create help in creating jobs? It's by ensuring that we have industrial parks that are no longer working in terms of the community. So we need to rehabilitate and fix this industrial park. Imagine that in Katoras, you create a mini bakery which is going to cater for people of Katlehong, Vosloorus, and Thokoza. That on its own, you are able to create jobs that are sustainable, and you are going to be able to hire people around. The municipality need to start by insourcing young people that they have, instead of you go outside the municipality and you hire people outside there without prioritizing local graduates.
Now, thank you very much. I think you have responded to the questions that were just raised. So what you can do is just to note some of the questions that perhaps they may be asking on the chat, as well as the ones that I may be asking the other panelists as well when we continue, so that you contribute again.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for now. Thank you very much. I think you raised very important questions that solving socioeconomic challenges such as unemployment, as well as ensuring that youth participation is accompanied by youth representations, are the ways or where we can are the ways that we can use to be able to solve the issue of youth voter apathy. So I think it's important points that you have raised. With that, let's allow Caleb Sweni. While you're answering to the big question of why it is important, also touch on the issues that Ms. Smatla just raised, the issues of youth representation, as well as the socioeconomic challenges impeding young people from participating in elections. So, but start with answering the important question. Caleb. Why is it important for young people to participate?
Yes. Okay, I see. There's no picture. Let me. Okay. I'm not visible, I suppose, right?
You are not visible, but you are audible.
Okay.
You can continue while you are still fixing your visibility. You can continue with the,
Okay. There we go. Okay. So in many parts of the world, local elections take place to select office holders in local governments, such as mayors and councillors. Elections to positions within a city or town are often known as municipal elections. For political systems to be representative, all parts of society must be included. When young people are disencouraged from political processes, a significant number or portion of the population has little or no influence in the decision making. A key consequence is that undermining the political system. To make a difference in the long term, it's essential for young people to be encouraged in formal political processes and have a say in formulating today and tomorrow's politics. Inclusive political participation is not only fundamental for political and democratic purposes, but is crucial to building stable and peaceful societies and developing processes to respond to specific needs of young generations. For young people to be represented in political institution processes and decision-making, in particular elections, they must know their rights and must also be given the necessary knowledge and capability to participate in meaningful ways and at all levels. When there are obstacles to participating in formal political processes, young people can feel disempowered. Many tend to believe that they are not being taken seriously, and when they are taken seriously, they are not being heard. The problem becomes crucial as politicians may lose interest in responding to aspirations of young people, but if they cannot win their votes. This in turn leads to young people being increasingly excluded by taking part in decision-making or debates about key socio-economic and political issues, despite the sensitivities to the demands of socio-economic justice, environmental protection, and cultural diversity. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Thank you. And Mr. Chair, may I please have my question again? I didn't note it.
No, the question that I said you must touch on as well when you continue is the one that in order for us to foster or enhance youth participation, it should be accompanied by youth representation. Are you also a believer of that the youth participation should be accompanied by youth representation?
Honestly, from my side, I believe that each and every person that is young should participate in the voting process. However, when it comes to young youth political representatives, it's the fact that these representatives take their political point of views and political mandates and force it over the students or the young people. They do not, how can I say, they do not put themselves in the shoes of the youth and try and to accommodate the youth. They rather take their political mandates and their political views and try and smear it, if I can use that, smear it off the youth and try to make the youth think the way that they think. That's
okay, so what you are saying in simple terms is that it doesn't make a difference whether you are represented by a young person or an older person.
I think it should be a young person. However, the young person should not come with old mentalities, if I make sense.
No, you do make sense. It do make sense,
Yeah.
because you indicated that because they represent a mandate, mostly mandates from their own political parties, so
Yeah.
it becomes difficult for young people to bring fresh ideas.
Yes.
Within those debates. I think it's something that the next panelist will touch on as well. Thank you for now. Thank you for now. Please do so as well. Note some of the questions that will be raised to the other panelists, as well as the questions that will be raised by our audience on the chat. I have not yet seen, I've only seen one question that we responded to on voting empathy that was raised by Victor Mafaleni Pokota. I think we have been responding to this question of how do we deal with voter empathy. We are dealing with it while we are discussing the issue, the big question of today. So while you are responding to the big question, Francis Khari. Oh, Francis Khari, I think we started with you. Tato Mkudu. Tato Mkudu, while you are responding to the big question of why it is important, you may also want to touch on the last question that we raised, and we asked Caleb with regard to, does it make a difference whether you are represented by a young person in local government or you are represented by an old person? Does it make a difference? Does youth participation comes with youth representation? Okay, let's start with the big question. The big question, why is it important?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Accept my revolutionary greetings once again. The existing literature on South African local democracy and participation is extremely rich, inspiring and diverse. Its development is contingent on the post-apartheid context, which gave rise to great expectation in terms of democratic development and social transformation. Having exposed and analyzed South African dysfunctionality on participation of youth on the elections, I feel it is within the rights of youth in terms of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa to participate in votes. And as a result of that, I move with the motion that youth must participate in elections. Young voters neglect the importance of voting, and sadly, their voice is important in ensuring that the future of this country is secured, and also in ensuring that SA is a better and developed country. What young voters need to know is that it is important to vote, especially because they fall within the crucial age of youth. When I say they fall within the crucial age of youth, I mean that youth are the largest population in the country, and their vote is much important than they actually think it is. And as a result, their participation is important, and most youth do not understand the importance of their votes. They neglect voting, and that ends up affecting us as a nation badly so. Young people must also understand that they account for half of the population, which entails they have potential to extremely influence change and development in South Africa. They need to be aware that their vote counts, as most of them believe that their vote does not count. They've got that assumption that our vote does not count, our voice is not important. But the most crucial part is that their voice is crucial. Sad reality is that young people remain the ones who are hit hardest by the recession and failing of the economy. They must not have the mentality of not caring, as the outcome of the election will in 3 years affect them. And when they find themselves struggling with college debt, high unemployment rate, and other crucial services, they will come back again and complain, whereas they did not vote. And that is why I keep on saying they should participate in elections. We can't predict where we will be in the next 4 years, but we can determine where we want to be by making the right decision, which is to shape the future of the country by deciding and taking the right decision, which is to vote. By so saying, I mean that our youth need to ensure that they participate in elections, because should they not do that, the future of the country lies in their hands, and the future of this country is for them. And if they do not vote, they are not only making the country suffer, but also themselves. And I want to also emphasize on the cruciality and also conscientize IEC and institutions, the barking constitutional institutions, that it's important to involve youth in this participation and also in elections, because it's pointless saying youth must vote, but when it comes to them occupying positions in maybe probably councillor positions, or them occupying any other relevant position in terms of elections, then we sideline them. So that also has a massive impact on the elections, because it ends up giving young people a mindset of saying we are not important in terms of elections, because we are voting for older people who do not have an understanding of what we want or what we need. So I feel it is wise that we also involve them in these positions. We also involve them in the campaigning of elections. We also ensure that they participate in everything, because IEC, for example, they need to have policies in place which stipulate a certain percentage to say, let us have this number of adults and this number of youth. I believe that should it be like that, our youth will participate most in elections. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. You have raised important points there, more especially indicating that the young people shall know that if they are not voting, they are giving away their rights to complain. So why complain if you haven't voted, if you haven't made a decision who to represent your interest? And you also mentioned something important, that young people neglect voting because they don't understand the importance. And how do we go about in order to educate them so that they can able to understand the importance of voting, since you are saying voting is very important and you have emphasized that?
Thank you, Chair. As I had already said on my presentation, if there's inclusivity amongst organizations, amongst the IEC, for instance, inclusivity of youth, where they are educated on the importance of elections, I believe, like for example, this seminar, we are talking of such seminars because young people in the past were neglected in terms of them being educated on the importance of elections. You would just see political parties coming and saying, go and register to vote. But then you're not giving me the actual clarity as to why should I go and vote. But then when there are seminars of this kind, when there's IEC that is going out there and pushing the mandate to say, you must vote for this. Like, for example, as I had already said, should you not vote, you forfeit your right to complain. How so? Because these services also impact you. But then if a young person is not conscientized on how elections affect them, then unfortunately, we find ourselves in a situation where youth does not vote. So it's important that we educate them in such seminars. We educate them by going to them, explaining and conscientizing them on the importance of voting. By doing what? By showing them that it also affects not only them now, but even their future. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, the last one is you mentioned issues related to when you were giving us a historical context in which you mentioned coming from apartheid and then where the majority were not allowed to vote. And now in a democratic dispensation, people are allowed to vote. Do you think the democratic dispensation, the systems that are being used currently, the ones that Ms. Kwala from IEC explained on how do we vote, encouraging of young people to be voting?
Chair, you know, currently I would say the systems that are used are actually encouraging youth, because remember, we are living in the 21st century where now things are done technologically. And then I was glad to see that we can now have youth register online without them having to go and queue or, on long lines. I was also glad to know that there's procedures that can be done. Maybe probably I'm no longer staying in Vosloorus, I'm staying somewhere else. I can change my address online. So I think that also favors youth, because before you find a young person having to go to the queue. And I think it's tiring for young people to go there. And you know how the mentality of young people is, like the previous speaker said, Unoli. Young people have got that mentality of saying, I've got other things to do. And I can't be going to queues and busy trying to register for elections, because I won't benefit anything. But then once they start understanding the importance of voting, number one, and also knowing that there's other platforms that they can use to register without having to actually go to the registration or voting station to register, then it becomes more easier for them to register. Hence, I believe the numbers and statistics have risen in terms of young people registering to vote. Thank you, Chair.
No, I think you responded well to the questions. No, thank you very much for now. For now, thank you very much. Tato Mkudu, there is a question from the audience. The audience says, it is sometimes said that young people's home environment can have an impact on their engagement. Does the panel think that the parents have anything to do with the lack of interest in them participating in election? The question is raised by Rangwatu Bambu.
Chair, let me just read it through so that I can quickly respond to it.
Okay.
Oh, well, yes, Chair. Parents also have an impact indeed in the lack of interest in young people participating in elections. How so? You know, most parents have got the mentality of saying, why must you go and vote? Because you are benefiting nothing. So when you instill that mentality to a young person, they become less interested to go and vote, because you are an adult, you know better about voting. You voted in 1994 when voting, when democracy started. You voted again and again, and then instead of motivating and encouraging young people or your child to say, go and vote so that you can better the country, you instead say, there's no need for us to vote. Like, I'm going to give you a practical example. My mother, she was saying to me, what is the purpose of me going to vote if we are going to have the high unemployment rate? And my response to her was, you are just encouraging me as your child to go and vote. Whereas you must also think outside of the box and understand that if I go and vote, I've got an opportunity to better the nation. And my vote could probably be the one that will actually reduce the high unemployment rate that you are complaining about. But when I do not vote, now I'm causing the very same challenge that I'm complaining about. So I say parents do have an impact in the lack of interest of youth voting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Nolikwa Smatla, you are also have to respond to the same question that is raised by Rangwatu Bambu. While you are responding to the question, could you please also touch on the role of the media? Do you think media has a role to play with regard to encouraging young people? And do you think social media is a platform that can be used as well to encourage young people to participating in elections or democratic processes in general? While you are responding...
Okay. Thank you very much, Program Director. I wanted to also respond the question that asked,
yes, start with it.
Environment have impact. You know, as Black families, we have this culture whereby my mother will go to the voting station and vote without actually taking me along. I was recently attending by-elections of Ward 43 in Sanwat Park, where it's mainly DA dominated, and you could see that when they go to the voting station, all families, they come out and vote. And even the young one, parents are going with their kids to the voting station. So they are installing them this culture of them going to the voting station together as a family, and it brings such it brings such unity to see a family going out and voting. So unlike in our Black communities, our parents, they don't actually encourage us to go and vote. Yes, they do go and vote, but some of them are hurtful and say that, but we are voting, we have been voting. Voting doesn't actually help us. Even today, we still remain, we don't have land, we don't have houses, we don't have etc. etc. So they have given up. So I think even myself, I didn't know that at the age of 16 you can eventually register to vote, until I became I became involved in politics. Then I was like, even if you are a 16-year-old, you can go and register to vote. You don't need to wait to be 18 years old. So I think going forward, we need to have these programs that conscientize our families. We need to have this kind of seminars. Actually, this seminars, they should have happened before registration of vote, so that we conscientize and give out message to other young people. And then in terms of social media is a powerful platform that actually we must use it in a good way. We must use it to encourage youth, because majority of young people are in social media. You can even see when 2 days back we had a blackout of WhatsApp and Facebook. People were frustrated because most of our time we spend it on social media. So these are the platforms that we should utilize to raise consciousness to our young people to actually go out and vote. But it's not a train smash. We still have until 1 November to share this message, to ensure that we embark on program that will ensure that come 1 November, young people are going to the voting polls. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you have responded to the questions successfully. Let's allow Taton Tokozo. Taton Tokozo on the same questions. Ms. Matla just indicated that our parents, they'd rather take us along to shopping malls or shopping centers other than taking us to voting during voting days or during election days. So what's your take with regard to the question as well as the one on media and social media as a platform?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. I find it very important for students to be part of their voting procedures, because as older people say that us, the students, we are the future of this country and the community. Okay, the notion of the local government is very important in democratic society, which ensures the meaningful people's participation and local resources mobilization for the enhancement of the life of the local people. As a student, when you participate in the elections, you will get to drive the change or the change you wish to see in future, as the future is on, or as they say, the future is on our hands. Voting gives you an opportunity to be part of the decision making that affects your life and the future of our country and of the future of our country and community. If you don't vote, others will make the decision for you. The reason why young people don't have the interest in voting is because while you go there, you'll find a queue, as they said. Sometimes you find the system is offline, and fine, we do vote in the elections. We find out that which party won, and then after all the drama and all the thing of voting and finding out which party won, at the end of the day, corruption starts. That's one of the big reasons why young people still see no need to go and vote. Elections have consequences. Remember, you have the power to decide on the quality of life you want for your life and your community, and even future generation. Voting is your chance to stand up for the issues you care about. This is your life. Take the time to help decide what's best. Voting rather than just waiting on social media or protesting is the best way to make your voice heard and make a positive impact on the issues that concern you. I might as well say not voting is like giving up your voice. Elections are decided by the people who go out and vote. If you don't vote, someone will make the decision for you as a young person, and you won't have any platform to complain, and you won't get a chance to make change in your community. And on coming to the question of is media, or you can use media to encourage young people, because most of the time, like the young people that are not working, are not studying, are just sitting at home, you'll find them most of the time using their phones, and seeing the parties that are up for election on media will help them see that there might be change. And I come back to the question of will it help having a young person in the parties and ruling part? And I will find it very helping on encouraging young people to go and vote, because those young people who will be there to stand up for us will help and understand the lifestyle that the youth is living. And it won't help having, as Sis Noli said, that it won't help having a 60-year-old ruling us as young people, because she won't understand the needs and the wants that the young people in the communities need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you have responded to the question successfully. Thank you for now. Thank you very much for now. Knox Harry. There are questions I think have been raised by our audience, which are in terms of innovation, to say young people are not participating in elections because they are disengaged. And there is another one which talks about voter education content being there, outside there. However, it may not be interesting for young people. So what innovative ways can we introduce to ensure that young people participate? what innovative ways or changes that you think can be brought perhaps by IEC or institutions that have civic organizations such as the legislature or municipalities or political parties to encourage young people to participate? No, let me allow, hello? Who's responding? Yeah, let me allow Knox to respond.
Thank you very much for that question, Chair. When we're speaking about innovative ways that can be stretched or can be put into test and trial as to whether how best would it be implemented that the youth are encouraged to vote. I think it's very vital, and it would be vital, and it would have a very much positive outcome, given with what now the IEC have took an extra mile to do with regarding to voter registration, allowing our communities, allowing our citizens to be able to register to vote online. So that I have seen for me as one of the measures which has been implemented, which I think they would attest that it had a great outcome and a very positive outcome. Because one of the reasons I would say that mostly citizens do not go to the voting polls to go and cast their votes, it's because of the issue of the long queues that are found at the voting polls. Now, if it would be implemented, let me say, that there is an innovation that is come up with, or an innovative strategy which is come up with, whereby citizens are able to cast their votes online rather than having to physically go to the voting polls, it would be one measure that can be taken into place and that would be implemented that would possibly have a much more positive and a greater outcome, because in actual sense is that most people don't go, we end up registering to vote, but not actually going to the voting polls to cast our vote because of the long queues that are strenuous, that we find that they are too tiring, that we cannot stand to wait that long in order to cast a vote. That's why most people tend to be reluctant in order to go and cast their votes at the voting polls, because when we get there, there is so many challenges that people come across. To start with, the long queues that are found there, that by the time you have to cast your vote, probably if it's being done in a modern way, whereby your details are going to be punched in and all of that, you find that you have to wait longer because of systems not being properly maintained, and that also is time consuming. So one of the reasons that people are not going to are not going to the voting polls to cast their votes is that there are long queues mostly. And you find that most of the people go there with different health compromising situations, whereby now they have to stand in those long queues just to cast their votes. So they end up becoming reluctant to go and cast their votes. Now, the voter education, I believe it's one thing that we lack as a country, that as the other speaker has spoken earlier on, that they have been exposed to a situation whereby they were in an area where they've seen families going together with their children. I believe that voter education also needs to start at home, from where we live, that as a young child, even if it's not yet my time, or I have not yet reached the age of voting, the parents or guardians should take along their kids to go and expose them to that environment and educate them as to whether when they speak of voting, what is it that they will be doing there specifically? I believe also even our political parties respectively, as they go around canvassing and asking for citizens to vote for them, why not, rather than focusing merely on voting for those political parties specifically, in there include a voter education, include that if you do this, your vote will be regarded as spoiled. If this is done, your vote will not be counted. So such things and such information is the one that we lack as citizens, that when we get there, you end up getting there and not realizing that how you voted, your ballot or your vote has been spoiled and it would not be counted. So rather than, I would encourage that the IEC as the body which runs the elections, the local government elections, as well as our political parties respectively, as they go around now canvassing, as well as the IEC as they go around encouraging people to go and vote, let's include the voter education so that people know specifically as to whether when they go to the voting polls, what is expected of them and what is it specifically that they will be going there to do, and what is the outcome that is expected of them as they go to the voting polls. Because it would be useless to find that you went to the voting polls, but then you might not even know it, but then obviously, yes, you're not going to know it, but you will know that there is a certain percentage of votes which have not been counted in, as they have been regarded as spoiled. Then we are able, if there is an education that is given to citizens, such mishaps are able to be avoided. I think I will stop there for now. Thank you very much, Chair.
No, thank you very much. You have responded to the questions well. I was about to stop you, actually. No, but thank you very much. I think you also responded to the questions raised by David Mulele as well as Rebecca. And then I've heard you mentioning a lot about IEC, even though Likwa mentioned that she didn't know that at 16 you can register. She only knew it more recently. So IEC, over to you while you are responding to issues of innovation in voter education and encouraging youth participation. Ms. Luopelo.
Okay, thank you once again, Chairperson. I just need to address a few things. I have written some on the chat line for those who are able to read through.
Yeah, they may be repeated. They may be repeated, no problem as well.
Oh, okay. I must mention that the IEC had made a great progress in terms of involving young people in participation. Our work is legislated, so whatever we do, we rely on what the law says we must do and how to do it. Previously, the law insisted that registration must be done in person. But with the new legal amendments or new legislative frameworks, it states that a person can register in a prescribed manner being to register online. So you create your profile on the IEC website. You create your profile. On the profile, you are able to register, you are able to change your registration details. Remember, young people can register from the age of 16, but because the Constitution in Section 39 states that a child is the person under the age of 18, so young people can only vote at the age of 18. We understand that young people move around. A person will register at the age of 16, and by the age of 19, 20, they are at tertiary institution. You don't have to go back to the IEC to register. You can just log on your profile and change your registration details so you can update it to where you are at that particular time. On the same note, IEC has now developed the e-learning process that you can do wherever you are if you want to do the modules that are offered by the Electoral Commission, and also the e-recruitment, because young people forever complain about recruitment processes at the IEC, that you have to go to the office to apply for jobs. Now we have the e-recruitment, and remember, you cannot work for the IEC if you are not registered to vote. So we also have the IEC WhatsApp line, we have the IEC Facebook site. So honestly, we have made progress in accommodating young people. The content that is given on Facebook or on Twitter relates to young people. I'm just not sure what content does the young people prefer, but we have made a great effort to accommodate and to enhance our system to accommodate the youth of South Africa. Important to note as well is that the voting stations on election day opens from 7 o'clock in the morning and close at 9 o'clock in the evening. And also remember that voting day is a public holiday, so young people do not have a reason to say they're attending classes or they're doing other things. If you know that you want to use this public holidays is only meant for voting and nothing else. But IEC offers extended hours for people to visit their voting station. One of the speakers spoke about people having to wait long in the queues, even though some are sick or have disabilities maybe. Special votes are intended exactly for that. Special votes is intended for those people who are unable to visit their voting stations on election day due to disabilities or ill health. So it is important that we take these things into cognizance. And what is nice with special votes is that you can actually apply on behalf of somebody else. I said earlier on that it's unfortunate that we talk about these things when some of the activities on the election timetable have already passed. So when we talk about applications online, obviously it is already too late for one to apply for special votes because they closed on the 4th already. It was also mentioned that the IEC need to have some kind of specifications on who should participate as candidates. Unfortunately, that cannot be determined by the IEC. Perhaps the youth participation in their respective political parties, they can drive that, because if you participate, we have seen in many political parties that only older people are participating in politics. That is why they choose themselves to be the representatives. But if young people can engage their political parties and seem to be interested in the affairs of their political parties. Remember that Section 19 of the Constitution also speaks about that that anyone, an adult suffrage, can form and participate in the political parties of their affairs. So participation starts there. Knowing your political party starts there. Your interest of being an independent candidate starts by participating. It cannot be the Electoral Commission that prescribe who should participate as a candidate. Thank you, Chairperson. I hereby submit.
Thank you very much for the clarity. I think it's well clarified. Now young people do understand that now IEC is also putting work in terms of ensuring that they participate during elections. So with that, let me allow Mr. Mudau, your take on the debates, also on how institutions of higher learning such as yourself contribute to, voter education as well as youth participation. If you are still there, Mr. Mudau. It seems like we lost Mr. Mudau in the connection. So with that, let me give our panelists 3 minutes each in order to bring solutions to our discussions on what they think should be the way forward in terms of encouraging young people or students participating in elections. Let's start with, I think there's a hand from the audience. There is a hand from the audience that I've just seen. You can unmute and continue. The hand that I've just seen from the audience. Okay, let's allow Caleb Sweni. What do you think are the issues that we can take forward so that we encourage young people to participating in elections going forward? Caleb Sweni. Seems like we don't have Caleb. Let's have Nolikwa Simata.
Okay. In closing, I'll like to encourage you to say that on the 1st November, they must just all go and exercise their democratic right of voting. And before they vote, they should. I think majority of parties have represented their manifesto, so it is best for young people to read and go through those manifestos, and after decide on which political party or which candidate makes more sense, and in ensuring that they address the daily struggles that they face. So it's very important, before you exercise your right to vote, you must know what are you voting for. So which includes reading up manifestos and understanding actually what candidates have to offer. And then number 2, I think us as young people who are actually more conscious, we must begin embarking on programs that seeks to encourage young people within our institution to vote, because we can't say we are leaving everything in the hands of IEC, but as we are our leaders in our own rights, and I believe that we should begin making effort in raising this awareness in terms of why people should vote. And also I would like to thank the program directors and then the host for organizing such seminar. We have learned a lot, and even in terms of the IEC, we have learned they are open from 7 a.m. until 9. So thank you very much for such fruitful engagement, and I hope also in future we will have this kind of engagement.
We thank you as well for your participation. I think you did great in the seminar. We are happy with the inputs that you made. Let's allow Tato Makudu. What is takeaways going forward? What do you think the issues that we can take forward in terms of ensuring youth participation and also looking beyond the elections?
Thank you, Chair. In closing, before I go to the solutions, allow me to send a message of gratitude to the host, yourself, the program director, the institution for bringing such an important seminar, because these are the kinds of seminars that we need in order for our young people to understand the importance of voting, in order for them to understand why we should vote. And as a result of that, I drafted a few solutions that I thought they might help after seeing Mr. Mulele's question, and I think it's Rebecca's question. In response to the solutions, I think it's now time for institutions to support young leaders. When I say institutions, I mean organizations, political organizations. I mean institutions that are encouraging voting, such as yourself as the Gauteng legislature, the IEC, and any other institution. We should also strengthen media, push youth to vote in terms of media. We should also pay attention to challenges that youth face on a daily basis. It's important that we pay attention to those issues, because should we not do that, we end up pushing youth away and making them think there's no point in us participating in elections. And then most importantly, I do know that most institutions participate in their SRC elections and so on. So I think we should also push such elections before the actual local elections or national elections, so that we see participation of youth in terms of the institution. And then in terms of numbers there, we can be able to motivate that the same way you did in terms of your SRC elections, do the same in terms of the local elections. I know that most universities are currently voting. That's where we should be now pushing the local elections and saying the same energy we are putting in the SRC elections, let's go and put it in terms of the elections, local elections. And I think this one has been answered by Makwala to say we should also push recruiting young people so that they can work in the industry and help in terms of elections. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your participation in this session. I think we did great together. We worked well. Let's allow Caleb Sweni. What's your takeaways? Caleb? Seems like we have difficulty with connecting to Caleb. Let's allow the other Tato Ntokozo. Your takeaways?
Okay. Okay. My solution is, we all know that young people young people in the communities want to live a fast life. So I think IEC might as well develop a site that will be easier for young people to vote on their cell phones, and that will be another advantage for the people who want to go vote manually there and stand on the queues. Though the queues will be lesser, and people will just log in on their phones and vote, and that will be another advantage, because young people have the mentality of we got a life that we must live, rather than going there and standing on the queue. So I think the website will also help on having more votes that are coming from young people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it's clear you are indicating that the debate for e-voting shall continue beyond this election, so that we have a debate for e-voting to encourage or influence our lawmakers in order to adopt this in future. I hear what you are saying. So that's why Ms. Koala also indicating that, political parties at parliament level are not in favor of e-voting, which is something that we need as young people to advocate for, so that at least we influence them, or in other way influence our own representatives in order to advocate for e-voting. And then let's allow our last panelist, Francis Hare, your takeaways, and also looking beyond these coming elections.
Thank you very much, Chair. I want to extend my most sincere gratitude to the organizers of the seminar. Thank you very much, Program Director, and all stakeholders for allowing us this opportunity to come forth as the young people of this country, to come and share our thoughts on voting, and as well as on the local government elections which are upcoming in November. In closing, I would want to, at the same time, looking at the comment that was just made now, that political parties at parliament level are not in favor of e-voting. I believe that political parties, when they go to parliament, are sent by us as their members from branch level. So I want to encourage a maximum participation, specifically and foremost from young people in all political parties, so that that idea, or that, I would say the idea or that reasoning is changed from the branch levels, because I believe that when they go to parliament, they go with what us as the branch members give to them to go forth with. So I would encourage maximum participation for us to change that mindset, because e-voting, in all honesty, it would encourage a foremost and most maximum participation, mostly specifically from the youth at large. Also, I would encourage political parties to take into consideration and encourage the voter education, so that when voters go to the polls, they know exactly, are going there fully equipped and knowing exactly what is expected of them as they go there. And lastly, in closing, I would encourage the innovation of exploring other voting measures to be looked into, because it is very easy for us as young people, if we come across things that we need to vote for, probably, let me say, on social media, we are able to do that, and they are maintained and managed very well. And with that being said, I want to thank you very much for this opportunity, and looking very much forward to other opportunities and this kinds of engagement that will take place, and we will be given that very same opportunity to take part in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the contribution. We thank you as well for your participation. It was indeed fruitful discussions that we had. Representative from the host GPL, what are your plans beyond the elections? Because we learned a lot from this series of seminars that we had on the importance of voting. Representative from the GPL, from the host, it will, yeah.
Chair, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are audible.
No, Chair, I think first and foremost, one must relate the point that we have been intrigued by the level of participation. I think we are humbled. And to nudge the point, share that we look forward to further participation and collaboration and partnership with the college. We thank Ntate Mutawu for allowing us to be able to engage the student of the Tvet College. But as we move forward, because this is an ongoing partnership that we need to enhance very carefully. We will be having our youth sector parliament next year. And I think we would be engaging, these fine young leaders in order for them to be able to participate at the level of the youth parliament. And thank you very much, Chairperson, for, directing the proceedings with distinction. Thanks, Chair.
We thank you very much as well for hosting this session. I see there are some parting messages here from Victor Mafaleni Pokotsa. My message to our youth: voter self-education is the new currency. The more you understand the electoral system, the more you'll be in charge of managing our state resources. We believe in our youth. We also acknowledge their feelings are excluded sometimes. So from the IEC, it's thank you very much for your participation. Every voice together, local government 2021. From Lindichia, one of the hosts, thank you all. Thank you for your participation. From myself as the program director or as the facilitator, I thank you very much for the opportunity granted to work with all of you in this platform. Please allow me to adjourn this session, the session agenda.